Assalamu alaikum. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, everyone. And a special thanks to the International Center for Peace and Democracy, so-called ICF-PD, which invited the Ahwazia Center for Human Rights. I have some information about the situation in Al-Ahwaz Al-Arabiya. Although we introduced the Ahwazis nation for many times before, but still we will fight and until we get our fully rights. Ahwazi Center for Human Rights. المركز الأحوازي لحقوق الإنسان. Do you know Al-Ahwaz? We had land by the name of Al-Ahwaz, Al-Sus, and Nisan, the Arab land, as called by Iranians. The last ruler of Al-Ahwaz was named Prince Khaz'al al-Ka'bi in year 1861 to 1936, who struggled and tried to keep his country self-governed, even though his neighbors, big countries such as Iran and the Ottomans, but the scales of interest has changed. The battle between the West and the East started, and the world was divided to two divisions. Thus, friends became enemies, and the neighbor became oppressive over his other neighbors. And by that, the Iranian government, governed by racist Reza Khan, started to invade Al-Ahwaz in April 1925. In special international and local circumstances, he entered with force and aggression and occupied our homeland, Al-Ahwaz. They captivated the Prince Khaz'al and transported him to Tehran, and then assassinated him in the year of 1936. He dropped all human rights and took over all over Al-Ahwaz and started Persianizing both the people, land, identity, and culture. He changed the Arabic names, replacing them with Persian names. And that did not just include city and country names, but also humans, where Ahwazians were given a list of names and had limits to which names to choose for their newborn children. They robbed the land and water after possessing the oil and transporting it to Tehran. They built habitation and transported hundreds and thousands of non-Arab to Al-Ahwaz and forced Arab Ahwazis to migrate to other Iranian cities or even to outside of Iran. This strategy has been carried out by former regime, deliberated, and it has been developed to wars against Ahwazi Arab people during the current fanatic Islamic regime of Iran. Our nation lived oppressed and anguished by the injustice, poverty, and deprivation. Ahwaz is considered the second largest reserve for oil in the world, where Iran gets near 5 million barrels of petrol daily. It is from this wealth and fortune that Iran builds its military forces and nuclear power. It is our nation's wealth that Iran confiscated from petrol and oil that was found in 1908 and produced in 1911, only 14 years before the occupation of homeland. While our people lived under poverty and deprivation, it is also forbidden to speak its Arabic language. They are also forbidden to wear their traditional Arabic clothing. They are also forbidden to introduce or talk about their history, culture, past civilization, and identity. Most charges against most Arab activities include those who struggling for self-determination and independence of Al-Ahwaz. Is one of the most oil-rich regions in the world and represents up to 90%, you don't believe it, 90% of Iranian income comes from Al-Ahwaz. From anyone. On the 15th of April 2005, all the Ahwazians protested and went to the street, screaming and shouting for their human rights, seeking justice and demanding to retrieve their rights, which will allow them to live just like anyone or other nations, to talk with their mother language, to decide their own destiny, to be free, to be able to choose life and the way to live in self-determination. That's what the Ahwazian asked for. Yet the Ahwazian went to the street to scream that they will not die. They are still living, although as prisoners. They wanted the Iranian authorities to know that their aggression, occupation, and assassinations did not and will not do them any good. So they should get out and let the Ahwazian live, just like anyone else on earth. What was the payback? It was brutal and harsh. Mass detentions, capture of children and women, and killing old and young men, while burning others. In addition, several were put in nylon bags and thrown in rivers to die. Maximum brutality was clearly shown in the ugly executions of men in the middle of the street after claiming false accusation for them in order to frighten the Ahwazian people. Also, protesters were falsely accused of traitors working for British or United States. We ask the international law and the free world to free the politician prisoners. We ask you to obligate Iran to stem the determining of destiny about the Ahwazian people by themselves according to the international laws. That's what our people are asking the whole world for. They are seeking freedom, justice, and equality. They are asking to be to be masters of their own land and to have the right to decide their own destiny. We are calling upon all the free nations of the world. Is there any answer? Is there anyone to answer? So we are not Persians, we are Ahwazian Arabs. Thank you very much for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Abusufyan. And I hope you have enjoyed this evening.